Hey guys, I'm going to go over both of the brush packs I created for Procreate so you know exactly what you're getting. I spent a lot of time working on these and they are now the only brushes that I'm currently using for my illustrations, which is pretty cool. These brushes are designed for making digital work that mimics traditional colored pencil, crayons, charcoals, etc. The first pack has lots of pencils and detail brushes, and the second pack has more textured and background brushes. Okay, for this demonstration, I'm going to be drawing on an 11 by 14 inch canvas in CMYK. I always draw in CMYK because this is the preferred choice for most traditional printing. I'll write out the downloading instructions in the description of the video as well, but download the brush pack into your iPad, go to your downloads folder, click on the brush pack to open it, and when you open it, it should automatically open up over in Procreate. So you can go over to Procreate, and when you click on your brushes, you should see the brush pack appear over on the side. So first up are my pencils. Some have a hard taper, like a really sharp sketching pencil, while others are softer. All are pressure and angle sensitive, so when you turn your pencil to the side at about a 45-degree angle to the paper, it will color in a bigger and softer way, just as if you were shading with a real pencil. And the harder you press down, the darker and smaller your line will become. Again, I wanted it to behave more like a real pencil. Up next, I have two ink pens. These are pretty self-explanatory. One is high pigment and tapered with a round edge. The other is my favorite. It's a dry pen and it has some texture to it, and it's a little less tapered and precise, but I just really love the texture this gives. Then there's the rough marker. This is a rectangular tip and doesn't have any texture. It's just full pigment, so I use this for blocking out colors or coloring in large sections. And the dry marker, which you can color with as well, but it has a nice texture to it. And the last two are my brush pens. These are probably my favorite. The first has more pigment and behaves much more like a brush pushing around some paint or gouache. It changes with the pressure you apply. The second brush pen is drier. You can see the individual brushes. It also behaves very fluid and is pressure responsive. I really like using this one when adding texture or shading to leaves or hair. Okay, so that's my first pack. The second, again, is all about texture that can be applied to small or large areas. So whether you're shading a little flower or overlaying some texture over your entire image, these are pretty versatile. I'm not going to go into too much detail for each one of the crayons and charcoals, but they have a mixture of textures, amount of pigment, they have a mixture of round and rectangular tips. So I'll just show you what each one of those looks like before talking about the three brushes that I love most in this pack. Okay, so this is the Watercolor splatter brush. This is a very soft, opaque brush that adds a regular splatter. I use it all the time to add a little something to backgrounds, especially water. And finally, that brings us to my two final brushes. These are both blotchy background brushes. The first acts kind of like a soft pastel. It is rectangular, but the way I like to use this brush is to actually go in circles with it and build up layers softly. It's easy to blend together and it responds to pressure, so you can go really light and build up as you go and get darker. And the last brush is similar, but it's a blotchy watercolor brush. There are a lot of fantastic free brushes available on Procreate, but in my opinion, it's really lacking on watercolor brushes. And the one that's available if you go under painting, it's the one called watercolor brush, obviously. I don't think it really behaves like a watercolor brush, but that's just my opinion. So this one behaves like wet on wet technique, meaning that you apply a wet brush dipped in watercolor paint to a wet canvas. I again recommend using it in circles like I'm doing. It doesn't have any hard edges, so you can pick up your pencil, set it back down, and continue blending the paint together. It's really easy to layer and blend other colors together. So those are the brushes in these two packs. I really love them and I would love to see what you make with them, so be sure to tag me on Instagram if you use them. I'm going to throw a time lapse up now of a recent illustration I did using just these brushes, so if you're interested to see them in action, stick around. And if you have any ideas for a brush that I didn't make that you'd like to see, or one that you feel might be missing from the free Procreate brushes, let me know in the comments. I'm really looking forward to seeing your feedback. Thanks for watching.